All right. I think we finally figured this out. Apologize, everyone. I have been working like heck to try and get this dumb thing to open up comments. So, looks like we got it. So, let's go ahead, get everything set up again. Let's go get that link. Let's see. All right. State Sundays. And Utes. Think much better. All right. Yeah. Turns out streams aren't as fun when you don't have access to comments. This should be much better. So, wait for you guys to come in. All that good stuff. So, apologies, guys. Like that totally stinks. Especially because I was like 20 minutes in before I realized that I did not have the access here to comments. So this will be a much better live now that you guys can actually interact with me and I can interact with you. So yeah, lives are not fun when you're just talking to yourself and you don't get to interact with everyone. So this will be much better. So anyway, so I wasted a lot of breath on that last live. Now I kind of want to just look at this Utes game that's coming up. Let's see. I wonder what the line is. Let's go to betonline.net. Odds. Arizona. I don't want NFL odds. I want NCAA football odds. There we go. Still at 15. Let's see. Money line for Arizona State is plus 485. That wouldn't be bad. Like a $5 bet on that. Over under is 54 points. I would feel confident taking the over on that, honestly. Both at minus 110. Kyle Whittingham's really good, though. Let's see what else is going on. 10 most deserving schools to host ESPN Game Day. Then Tennessee. Yikes. We're taking shots. Number 1 is Kansas. I love it. Yes. Get the Jayhawks some love, baby. Get them ranked. Oregon State. I'm here for the Pac-12 pride. Okay, the rest of these are kind of funny. Delaware, Austin P, or Pay. I'm not sure. Iowa State, SMU, Wazoo, again, Pac-12 pride. I'm here for it. Wake Forest, Eastern Michigan. I don't want to talk about it. Just don't want to talk about it. And Western Kentucky. Interesting. All right, then. Oh, I made a bet earlier on the Virginia game. Let's see how that's holding up. Probably not great. That's 16-0. Nothing Virginia can't come back from. I saw that Virginia's kicker is like 0 for 2 on field goals. Yep. Awesome. It's a good thing I'm a big spender when it comes to my bets. So let's see. Quarterback, just over 50% completion. Run game hasn't been great outside of Mike Hollins. What's Cuse doing? 66% completion. He's got an interception. Not much on the ground. How'd they score? Can I see how they scored, please? I guess we'll have to go to ESPN for that. Let's see. No, I would just like to see the box score, please. I would like to see that box score, please. Syracuse versus Virginia. Box score. I'm not asking for much. I just want to know how we scored. Dude, seriously, I can't find it. Oh, there we go. Garrett Schrader scored on the ground. So there you go. That would be how they scored. They're up 16-0. That's not helping my bets. Ugh. Syracuse 3-0 on the year. So they pull this game off, get to 4-0, get some votes for that top 25. Let's see what else is going on. I don't think there's too much. I wish I could have saved like that live from earlier. I had all sorts of fun stuff I talked about. Hopefully I can get some guys in here to have a conversation. Talking to myself is only fun for so long. Oh no. Dolphins fans are getting out of control. Let's check on U of A stats. That sounds like fun. U of A football stats. Because I know Jaden Allure has been a stud for them. They're somehow 2-1. Good for them. Yeah, Jaden Laura 6-4 has a score on the ground. Is it Michael Wiley? Yeah, Michael Wiley has been a stud for them. I don't know why, but I hear his name and I just feel like he's a small dude and he's not like at all. He's 6', 220 or 210. Averaging 6.2 on the ground. Holy cow. Who's their number one receiver here? Jacob Cowing. 5 of the 6 touchdown receptions for U of A. Transfer from UTEP, coming off a 1,300-yard season. 5'11", 175. I know U of A did a good job trying to rebuild their team this year, so props, I guess. I mean, I still hope you guys lose every game, but neither here nor there, I suppose. Defense is whatever. All right. I don't care. I want to look at Sun Devil stats now. I much more appreciate looking at my team's stats. Man, Emory's got to get it going. Less than 200 passing yards a game right now. 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I think we've turned the ball over like twice this year. That sounds right. I think it's only been 2 turnovers, which is awesome. So you're definitely way above positive in the turnover ratio department. Let's take a look. Averaging almost 31 minutes. 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 31 Okay, so there's been 3 lost fumbles. I would have lost that bet. I did not realize there had been that many. And you have 3 interceptions, I believe, so ratio is right at 1. Yeah, 4 interceptions. 4 interceptions. Yeah, so 4-3. So yeah, I don't know. That makes sense. Got to get those sack numbers up, man. Got to get the sacks up. Got to get those passing yards up. I'll tell you what, Kyle Soley has been a very nice surprise this year. I was not expecting him to take such a massive step forward. Very, very impressed with the way he's played this year. Turnovers, sure tackler in the open field. I feel pretty confident about the way that Kyle Soley has been playing this year. So definitely like it. Man, it's so funny to me. You look at college stats and like there's so many more assisted tackles than there are solo tackles majority of the time. Like Merlin Robinson's got 24 tackles in a year, but 17 of them are assisted. He's only got 7 solo tackles. That's crazy. Corey Bethley is tied for third with 14 with Chris Edmonds. Edmonds is having a very good year. Should have had that pick 6 that got wiped away from the what ended up being like a blocking him back or something like that in week 1 against NAU. Yeah, that sucked. And then Keon Markham, Kawan Markham had an interception. Keon had a pick 6, and that got wiped away by a penalty. So, nonetheless, I like Kawan. I thought he was a stud last year in limited action. I think he's a stud this year. Oh my goodness. I need a nap. Yeah, Kawan's got an interception. Chris has an interception. Sully's got 2. Turnovers haven't been a problem this year. The problem is actually getting into the end zone with the offense. That has not felt like something the team has done very well at all. Run game's awesome, though. Averaging almost 200 yards a game on the ground. Valladay's got like 66% of that or something like that. I want an exact number. 361 divided by 568. 64% essentially. 63.6. Yeah. Very, very good. I did not expect Valaday to end up coming in and just being as dominant as he is. I mean, he's legitimately like a Doak Walker Award kind of player right now. I want to see NCAA rushing yard leaders. Let's take a look. I'm curious where X places. 13th with 361. Chase Brown at Illinois has 604. Oh my God. Sounds like that's who I want to look at. Was it Chase Brown, we said? Yeah, Chase Brown, 604. Let's see that game log. Oh, he's played 4 games. That's why. I mean, nonetheless, he's still averaging well over 100 yards a game, but it makes a little more sense that he's played because he played last night against UTC. Oh, Chattanooga. So he played last night against Chattanooga, 108 yards and a touchdown. Just a yard short against Indiana, 199 yards. He's only got 3 touchdowns, though, for as many yards he's racking up, 6.4 a pop. Welcome to the live, guys. So right now I'm just looking at stats and just kind of comparing where X Valaday is compared to other running backs in the league. Somehow he's 13th in rushing yards, despite the fact that he's got 361. Oh, how awesome. Samson Evans is ahead of him. Thanks, guys. That's exactly what we talked about last week with the stupid run defense for Arizona State, given Samson Evans 200 some odd yards against us. Never had a 100-yard game before that. Seriously, going into that game, he had, what's that end up being? 110 yards. Yeah, 110 yards on 25 carries. Well, 108. I forgot to subtract. 108 yards on 15 carry, 25 carries. Goodness gracious. I need a nap. 2 touchdowns. Just wasn't doing anything outstanding. Then he plays ASU. 258 yards. 258. 7.2 a pop. He carried the ball 36 friggin' times. Yeah, it's not a wonder that those numbers got a boost a little bit. No disrespect to Samson, but I mean, that's just such a bummer that the one game he played against us ended up propelling him that high. Man, are there any guys I recognize on here? Mohammed Ibrahim. I recognize him. Other than that, no, I don't recognize any of the other guys. Oh, Deuce Vaughn having a solid year. I like him. I really liked him coming into this year. Let's take a look at those stats in a little more detail. Yeah, I could have swore he was eligible last year for the draft. Guess not. Man, he was good last year. He had 22 touchdowns, almost 1,900 scrimmage yards. Yeah, he's very good. He's tiny though. He's 5'6". I mean, that's smaller than me, and I'm obviously 10 times more athletic. But that's funny. So Deuce Vaughn, a stud. Good for him. Where was he? 14. 14. Braylon Allen only has 332. Interesting. I'm pretty sure he probably was my preseason bet for the Doak Walker Award. Would have been him or Bichon Robinson. Let's see, Mr. Braylon Allen. Yeah, 148 his first game, 98 against Wazoo, 86 last week against New Mexico State. He's still really good at football. The dude is, I think he's 18. I don't think he's even 19 years old yet. Like, because he reclassified as like a 17-year-old kid to get to college. 6'2", 235 pounds. I mean, he just fits in so well with the rest of Wisconsin's running backs that they've had come through that program. He's absolutely insane. Very, very good football player. I want to see Bichon Robinson stats now. I wish it was Bichon, just for the fact that I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. I wish his name was Bichon, but I don't mind it being Bichon whatsoever. Let's see, 311 on the ground. Bama contained him, man. Like 57 yards on 21 carries. Other than that, I mean, he lit up. Who is this? Louisiana Monroe for 71 yards on just 10 carries. And then last week, they took their frustration out on the UTSA. Cranked out 183 yards on 20 carries. Scored 3 times. Got 5 touchdowns on the year. Another one through the air, so 6. Holy cow, he's averaging almost 20 yards a catch through the air. Good for him. And Bijon's a stud. Zach Evans, I recognize him from Ole Miss. Man, I don't recognize a lot of these guys. Let's look at some other stats. Let's look. Wow, there's a lot of stats here. Let's go passing yards. Passing yards sounds fun. Hey guys, what's going on in the chat? I'm just looking at stats for college football guys, but I'm here to talk about Arizona State all day, every day, if you guys would prefer to talk about that. In the meantime, though, Michael Penix, man, he's been such a stud for, what are they called? The Huskies. Yeah. Michael Penix. I think he was a, Indiana transfer? Is that right? Yeah. It was an Indiana transfer, and he never really got to stay on the field that much, but now he's on the field for Washington. 10 touchdowns and 1 pick, 66% completion. What did I say he was? Second in the league in passing yards. Good for him. I recognize a good amount of these names. Tanner Mordecai for SMU, Grayson McCall for Coastal. Will Rogers at Mississippi State, only number 9, doesn't even have 1,000 passing yards yet in a air raid offense for, what's his name? Mike Leach. Stetson Bennett coming in at 12. Good for him. What's going on with those Georgia Bulldogs this year? Georgia Bulldogs football. Check out those stats. I'm a huge stat guy. I could just sit here and look at stats all day. Let's see. Bennett's 5 touchdowns, 0 picks. Backup. Carson Beck is 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Collectively, they're completing almost 73% of their passes. Number 1 running back, Kendall Milton, 6 yards per carry on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Man, they're just spreading the ball out this year on the ground. They don't have a single guy. There's no DeAndre Swift. There's no Zamir White, or who are their other guys? They had Zamir White. They had James Cook. They had a third guy. I'm looking it up. Georgia Bulldogs 2021 stats. Because that's going to bug me if I can't remember who it was. It wasn't McIntosh, was it? I guess it was McIntosh. Yeah, Kenny McIntosh. Kendall Milton had himself a nice year, too. Brock Bowers, that guy's a stud. And he's been good this year, too. 10 catches, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a tight end, man. Yeah, Brock Bowers is pretty good at football. Super athletic, too. 6'4", 230, and I mean, he moves. He's fluid. You've seen a couple games this year. Oh, wow. He put up 882 yards as a freshman last year and 13 touchdowns. Wow. So what you're telling me is next year, 2024 NFL draft, he's gonna come into the year as like a top 5 pick, because we got to do that every year with the tight end for whatever reason. Like, we always have to have a Kyle Pitts in a draft. It's just the most obnoxious thing in the world. Like, but I mean, I'm not hating on Brock Bowers, but we'll see if he can replicate last year or even do better. Like, if he can be 1,000-yard guy, yeah, he can absolutely come in as a Kyle Pitts player. But I mean, like what they're doing with Mike Myers this year for what's it called? Notre Dame. Michael Myers. Is it really Michael Myers? That can't be right. That can't be right. Is it really Michael Myers? Mayer. Okay. Michael Mayer. That's much better. I was going to say, wow, that's killer instinct. Pun intended. No, but we got to make Michael Mayer into this like number 1 tight end, top 10 pick. 840 yards, 7 touchdowns last year. That's good. It's off to a decent start this year. 15 for 145 and 2. Had a 100-yard game against Marshall, but 42 yards in his 2 games against Ohio State and Cal. That's not ideal. But, I mean, no hate. Michael Mayer could be a first-round pick, and he could be a stud. So, but again, back to my point, like, it's just we gotta turn some kind of tight end into tight end 1 every single year in the draft and make him a top 10 pick. Just Kyle Pitts forced that to happen, I guess. All right, enough everyone else talk. Let's talk Arizona State. Let's talk going into that Utah game. So Utah is the 13th team in the nation. They got a gosh darn good team, man. Like, you got not the Utah Jazz. I don't care about the Jazz. I want to talk about the Utes. Give me the Utes. Literally, no one cares about NBA right now. Utes. There we go. Yeah, they got a really good team, man. Like, I'm just the biggest Cameron Rising fan in the whole world. I was joking with Michelle Bodkin yesterday on the Crimson Corner podcast for the Utah Utes. If you guys haven't checked that out, you should definitely check it out. Michelle is outstanding, super smart, one of the coolest people I've ever gotten to have a conversation with during my time down in Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl I go to every year. Like, she's just so much fun, super goofy, very smart personality. Like, she knows football. But anyway, yeah, I hopped on Crimson Corner with them yesterday and was talking about them. And like, you guys can shame me if you need to, but like, I really am like a pseudo like Utes fan. Like, if I didn't have an allegiance to any college football team, I would probably definitely be a Utes fan. Black Star, welcome back. I remember you from Sunday. I feel bad for Arizona State. You guys got a mega gauntlet. I don't know why you fired Herm before the doomsday part of the schedule. Yeah, you got 3 straight games against ranked Pac-12 competition. But hey, 2 of them are home games, and it's against Utah, number 13, and Washington, number 18 currently. And then you got to go to number 7 USC next week. It's not looking good. I'm kind of with you on the whole firing Herm before this gauntlet starts. But at the same time, I feel like there was a lot of like maybe this needed to happen to kind of get things back on track. Like this could have been one of those moves where it's like, you know, we're going to see if we can re-energize this team by just going with a new culture change, so to speak. Having a new voice in the locker room, having a new voice for the team's mentality overall. Like Sean Aguano's definitely bringing that, and um, you gotta respect the enthusiasm that has already been on the been like you see it on Twitter kind of thing, and you love the fact that they have like just embraced Aguano. So, like I said earlier this week, another good buddy of mine, Cole Tompum for Devil's Digest, had put out that during the practices they were actually cranking some music in the stadiums, and that's another thing that you really like to see is Aguano is kind of addressing the personality of these kids and trying to get them more excited about being invested in the program and just kind of being themselves, I guess. So, and I mean, it's not like he's cranking Elvis Presley or anything like that. Not that I would have a problem with it, but these 18, 19, 20-year-old kids probably wouldn't appreciate Elvis Presley the same way they would approve of like the Baby or Drake or whoever you young kids are listening to these days. I don't know. I'm kind of out of the loop on that stuff. Juice World, I like Juice World though. I really like Juice World. Uh, there's all sorts of stuff. But anyway, we're not talking about music. The point is, Aguano definitely seems to be trying to get back in touch with these kids and make it seem like it's a lot of moving forward, getting these kids to say, it's a new chapter. We're ready to go to the next chapter of our career and our time with Arizona State. We can sit here and dwell about Edwards being fired and everything because, I'm sure a lot of the kids liked Edwards. He seems like a very down to earth guy, seems like a person who's going to motivate you to want to be good. But at the same time, it just wasn't holding on, definitely felt like there needed to be a change. And that's what happened. So the kids probably needed a good little kick to realize, it's time to move on, move forward, and just on to bigger and better things. Hopefully, Iguano's the guy to kind of get them kicked into gear and on that right track again. So I am not too much longer for this live because unfortunately, my time limit was probably about 6 to 6:10 ish, and I really messed up trying to get all the settings ready for the chat going, and man, that stunk. I absolutely sunk like almost a half hour into the first live because I didn't have the chat on and people were coming in and I couldn't do anything with them, and that stunk. Here we go. Hey, same thing happened at USC when Dante Williams took over and started practicing red zone. When red zone wasn't practiced all year, I think whoever Nebraska doesn't hire, that Arizona State will hire. I'm curious what happens in Nebraska. They're just one of those programs where it's like, oh yeah, we got a lot of history. Yeah, but your history's in like the 70s and 80s. You haven't been that relevant of a program in the last 10, 15 years. They've been solid. They've got a few winning seasons here and there, but they're just not the pinnacle, prestigious program they want to make themselves out to be. So I don't know if you're going to be able to get a big time hire. Like, Arizona State feels like a much better opportunity than what Nebraska can offer anyone. And I'm not a Nebraska hater. Like, I can appreciate Nebraska for what they are, but what they are is a middling program right now. They think that they're like Texas, and Texas thinks that they're Alabama. So that's not a good mix. Nebraska likes to think that they are still, one of the most prestigious football programs in the country. And despite the fact that they definitely want to invest, they're not putting anything together. I certainly thought that Scott Frost was going to be part of the changing of that culture when he got down there. And that just wasn't the case. But, I guess to each their own. Like I truly thought Scott Frost was going to be a good coach for them. He had the history with Nebraska for what it's worth, the feel good stuff. But he also was just highly successful at UCF. So if Nebraska hires Urban Meyer, huge mistake. Arizona State will hire either Eric Bieniemy or Matt Campbell. So if Urban Meyer goes to Nebraska, that feels like something beneath him. Like his two biggest jobs have been with Florida and with Ohio State. And at no point in time in the most recent of years, the last 20 some odd years, were either of those teams like bottoming out like really bad programs. He came into those situations and made them better, obviously. I mean, he's three-time national champion, two with Florida, one with Ohio State. He had a like an undefeated record one year with Ohio State, but they were suspended from bowl games. They were 13-0. They might have even been 14-0, something like that. But I mean, he's just gone to really prestigious, really good programs, and it's just kind of his mantra, I guess, is not really going to colleges that aren't worth his time, which is one of the reasons why I kind of filter him out of Arizona State's conversation. Is like Arizona State could be a great program, and bringing in Urban Meyer would definitely get you on that track. But I feel like Urban Meyer, if he gets back into coaching again, is going to be very, very selective about where he goes. Like I thought for the longest time he was going to go to USC, and it still blows my mind that he never ended up there. Like it felt like such a natural fit. But I don't know if there's really going to be any openings that would really entice Urban to get back into coaching. He never bit on the Texas opportunity, which would have been pretty solid for him. Jacksonville would love to talk that. Dropped him immediately at a lower level. He needs a fixer-upper and an attitude adjustment, unintended. No, he definitely did not work in the NFL for a lot of different reasons. And I think the only reason he really went to the NFL, to a bad situation in Jacksonville, was because of the opportunity to really glorify his name again, because he had kind of been off the radar for a couple of years because of all the drama and just all the terrible things that went down in Ohio State. Not saying we get a win, but I have a feeling we keep it close to the half, like the Oklahoma State game. If we can get the ball moving and stop the penalties, maybe we have a chance. Curb, love it. Absolutely love that take, because when we played Oklahoma State, we played them so much closer than anyone wants to give credit to. The biggest problem in that game was the offense couldn't move the ball. And of course, just has been the story for years and years and years, it's stupid, stupid penalties. I can remember there was a one on TJ Pesafia where he just shoved Cameron Rising for absolutely no reason. And that's a 15-yard penalty, results in a first down. Like there's just so many dumb mental errors that they need to stop committing. They need to start cleaning them up. And it's just they're unacceptable. It's what loses you games. So you're really hoping that for the defense that Eastern Michigan was like just an anomaly and not a sign of things to come, because the first 2 weeks the defense looked pretty good. The only reason Oklahoma State hung 34 on you, in my opinion, is because your offense just kept throwing the defense right back on the field, and it's a tired unit at that point. There's nothing that the defense can do regardless of getting turnovers, because they had an interception in that game with Kyle Sully. They had an interception in that game. They gave the offense another chance, and they didn't do anything with it. They were forcing 3 and outs. They were getting really good stops. Didn't do anything with it. So I'm not willing to say that Arizona State is out of this game, but at the same time, I am. It's a very weird situation. Like, I am definitively taking the Utes to beat Arizona State. You're going through a change of head coaches now. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty moving forward. How quickly are you going to adjust to Iguano's new ideas? How are the players going to respond to a new coach 3 games into the season? It's there's a lot of factors that go into this. Meanwhile, Kyle Whittingham and Utah just have so much consistency, so much chemistry, so much familiarity with each other that it should be an easy win for them. But ASU could come out in this game and they could say, we're confident, we're ready to prove everyone wrong. I could see that. I could one of the things I talked about with Michelle Bodkin on the Crimson Corner podcast for Utah. Again, that I retweeted that on my account and on the Locked On Sun Devils account. Definitely check that out. One of the things I mentioned is I could see this game going one of 2 ways. This will be a blowout where Utah just absolutely smacks the living daylights out of Arizona State, or this is a close game. And when I say close, I mean 1 possession. I don't see a game where ASU is losing by 10 or 13. Is that close? Yes. But when I say close, I'm talking like 7 or less. I think Arizona State could give Utah a run for its money. But I also see a situation where Utah beats you by 25 or more and just absolutely thumps you and embarrasses you. Could absolutely see that situation because it's just so much better team, top to bottom, coaching, talent, execution. Yeah, they lost that game against Florida in the opener, but that was one of the flukiest interceptions of Cam Rising I've ever seen. He only has 1 pick on the year, and I mean that play against Florida, he's not doing that 99 out of 100 times. So Florida, I'm not saying they got lucky on that play because they played a heck of a game. Anthony Richardson was insane, where he was the number 1 pick in mock drafts for like a week because of that game, regardless of the fact he doesn't have a touchdown pass on the year, which is hilarious to me. But, I mean, Utah, I feel, wins that game against Florida probably 8 out of 10 times. Florida is a very good team. Florida is definitely riding some major confidence right now. I don't know if they're 3-0. I think they are 2-1. Yeah, they are 2-1. They got a really tough game tomorrow, though. They got to go to Tennessee. I don't know if they get that win, but their only loss is to Kentucky. Kentucky's number 8 right now. It was 26-16 as a very good program. But they also snuck out of the South Florida game 31-28. Like, I like the Florida team. I think it's a good team. I don't think it's a fluke that they beat Utah. What I do think is a fluke is that Cameron Rising interception. That just does not happen 99 out of 100 times. That was a fluke. I still think Florida's a good program. We're going to find out tomorrow, though, when they take on Tennessee. It's a 12:30 kickoff game for all of us here in Arizona time. So definitely tune into that one. Number 20 versus number 11. The Tennessee quarterback's absolutely insane. And now I'm drawing a blank on his name. Oh, this is going to make me really mad when I see his name, and it just makes me look stupid. Last chance to figure it out. No. Hendon Hooker. Told you I was going to feel stupid. Stupid. Hendon Hooker is very good. Bringing it back to Arizona State. Is it Hendon? Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Bringing it back to Arizona State, though. I think that the Sun Devils could make this a game. And if they do make this a game, it is because of the passion and the revitalized kind of attitude that they have moving forward in terms of like, we're going to prove everyone wrong. You've seen guys tweeting about it all week, and sure, it's Twitter, right? It's like you can only act so tough on your keyboard or on your phone. Like, it's talk is cheap. But I think that these guys could definitely be motivated to want to pull off this upset. It would not surprise me if they did. I would be thrilled beyond belief if Arizona State did find a way to pull off this upset. It would blow my mind if they actually found a way to do that. But I'm not betting on it. So when I checked earlier for Bet Online, where the game starts, if you guys wanted to check out the lines there, they currently have Utah as 15-point favorites. Considering Arizona State just typically does not play the spread that well, I would definitely, if you're a betting person, I would take a look at taking Utah to cover that. If you want to throw like $5 down on the ASU, they do have plus 45 odds on what's it called? What's it called? Dude, I am just totally sure. Money line, on the money line. So if you guys are interested in throwing some money on the money line, then I mean, can't hurt. $5 on a 400 plus 485 odds. I don't know. Like I can't calculate the number in my head. I can tell you right now, I will strongly consider it. Over under at 54. I think I would take the over on that too, but odds are the same. It's both minus 110. So I'm not the greatest gambler in the world. I'll just be completely honest with you guys. But I do think that ASU is definitely interesting. All right, Black Star. I think they need to run an Oregon-style Chip Kelly type of offense, be a lot more physical because a lot of people say Oregon is an SEC team. Nope, that's Utah. They love smacking you in the face. I'm curious how that would work for Arizona State this week. So I think that this could be a possibility for Arizona State because you have enough athletes on the offensive side of the ball to pull this off. It's not like you have a ton of massive offensive linemen and like inline pro style tight ends and bigger receivers that would get tired out. You actually have a lot of like quality guys who could make this work. You have athletic tight ends with Messiah Swinson and Jalen Conyers. You have a interesting offensive line where I think the guys are a lot more athletic than people might give them credit for. Your wide receivers, I think they're good. Your running backs definitely have lots of athleticism, especially X. X Valladay has tons of athleticism. And of course, you got that mobile quarterback in Emory Jones. And hopefully they finally take the leash off of him and just allow him to do what he does best. If you were to switch to that kind of offense, it would take a little bit of adjusting. I think eventually you could pull it off. My question is, how does that go against Utah? You could get them off balance. You could get them tired, right? Like it just one of those things where like you keep the pace high and you're able to catch them off guard. The problem is Utah runs such a pro style offense and they love running the football. They've got 119 carries to 91 pass attempts on the year. And Tavion Thomas is a backbreaker. So it's just they could control drives. You know, Arizona State could have those 2 to 3 minute drives to get down the field and score some points. But then Utah comes out with a 7 or 8 minute drive, and that gives their defense rest. And then their defense comes back out, and they're feeling good against an offense that, yeah, they're going to want to hurry up and run the ball quickly. But how much does that matter? And then, you know, I'm of the belief that time of possession can be a very overrated stat, but it's also an important stat, especially in games like this, where you're trying to control the tempo of the game and keep what could be an explosive offense off the field and keep what could be a bad defense on the field. Yeah, that's the reason why you have to go Chip Kelly. Emory Jones is a Chip Kelly type quarterback, can't throw consistently, but is an athlete. Yeah, no, you've got the quarterback to run that kind of offense. Like I said, I want the reins to be taken off of Emory Jones. I want him to finally be unleashed. It feels like they have just pigeonholed him into this pocket passing quarterback and like forcing him to be something he's not. And he is a solid passer in the pocket. I think he's a very underrated player in the pocket. I really like Emory Jones as a passer. I like him more than I like Jaden Daniels as a passer. The problem is he's a lot better a player when you allow him to get on the run. You allow him to do what he's comfortable with. And that's making plays with his legs, and that's breaking the pocket consistently. That's designing plays, bootlegs and draw or not well, kind of draws, but like bootlegs and RPOs and stuff like that that allow Emery to truly use his skills to the best of his advantage. I want to see more of that. I want to see ASU just allow Emery to do his thing. In an offense like that, yeah, you would absolutely get the best of Emory Jones. So, but Emory Jones isn't Marcus Mariota. He's not a Heisman front runner. He's not a future NFL like number one pick kind of quarterback. He could turn into something really good, but as of right now, he's not there. And that could lead to some growing pains because Marcus Mariota was just born and ready to fit into that Chip Kelly offense. Like he was perfectly designed and cast for that role. Emory Jones, I think, would take a little bit of time to adjust, but I think he could get there. Herm Edwards type of quarterback, and the dude that was a must-get was South Carolina's quarterback, talking about Spencer Rattler, not Emory Jones. He was pigeonholed from day one. Yeah, they botched that. They botched that whole situation with Spencer Rattler, and a huge part of that reason is Jaden Daniels. Like Jaden Daniels deserves a lot of blame for the team not getting Spencer Rattler. So I remember former All Sun Devils deputy editor Donnie Druin, one of the biggest fans of the podcast, was actually able in like the press room to overhear some guys talking about how like Spencer Rattler coming to Tempe felt like a slam dunk. But unfortunately, that never happened because Jaden was not leaving and Rattler was looking for an opportunity to be the day one starter. If Jaden was still there, that's far from like solidified for him. Far from a guarantee. Because Jaden had 3 years with the program. He is familiar with the way Herm Edwards coaches. It would have given him an advantage. But then Jaden decides to transfer, and by the time he transfers, Spencer Rattler is already at South Carolina. So that ship sailed. But, maybe it's for the best that Spencer Rattler didn't end up here for a few reasons. One, he's not good. Call a spade, as a famous Richie Bradshaw has said many times. He's not good. He's not a good quarterback. And the offense would just be so significantly different with Rattler because sure, he's athletic, but he's not mobile. He's not a guy who can take off and just dominate you with his legs the way that an Emory Jones can or the way a Jaden Daniels could. Like that was one of the biggest strengths of the Sun Devils. Jaden Daniels was wanting to go to SC or UCLA. The second DTR stayed. That slammed both shut. Yeah, I really, really like Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I think he's an incredibly fun guy to watch. Rattler doesn't have a good attitude as well. What? Rattler doesn't have a good attitude? I've heard he's a great team player. Man, I've seen all sorts of stuff on Twitter and YouTube about how awesome a teammate he is. And he definitely doesn't cuss out his guys. He definitely doesn't blame everyone when his balls are off target or anything like that. No, Spencer Rattler, you're crazy. Rattler is a great guy. I want him to date my daughter. He seems like such a classy guy. I don't know if that's too rude or not for a podcast, but yeah, we'll just kind of keep that between us on the live where I get to be a little bit unhinged, I suppose. But yeah, not a Rattler fan. Now, don't get me wrong. I would have been his number one fan if he came to ASU because he's a 5-star guy. He's a local kid. He is uber talented. But with hindsight and with retrospect, it was definitely the right decision for him to not end up at ASU and for Emory Jones to end up here because Emory is a better fit for this offense. You didn't have to do that much changing. Like if you bring in Spencer Rattler, this is a brand new offense. There's a chance that you struggle right out the gate against NAU. And you did struggle right out the gate against NAU. You did score a point in the first quarter. You were able to finally get everything kind of back around and back on track, but Rattler would have just made this offense so much more awkward to get started. Whereas with Emory, it kind of feels like you picked up where you left off. Rattler was a great teammate at OU. How he handled being benched was kind of like how Hurts handled being benched at Bama. Was it though? I feel like there was a little bit of like sourpuss attitude there. Now, don't get me wrong; it's not like he ran to the media and was boo-hooing and crying and like "whoa, woe is me" and stuff like that. Like he did a good job staying out of the spotlight. But I'm pretty sure he definitely was throwing little girl fits on the sidelines and was just not happy. But he didn't take to Twitter or anything like that. But even when he entered the transfer portal, if I'm not mistaken, Caleb Williams also entered the transfer portal right around the same time, and Rattler didn't come back. So he definitely had been moved on from Oklahoma, and good for him. I mean, it definitely seemed like the program was just going in a very different direction, and the quarterback they have now is very, very good. It's Milton, something like that. He was at if I can spell Oklahoma. He was, I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, Mackenzie Milton was the previous guy, so I'm not crazy. Dylan Gabriel is the guy I'm thinking about. Okay, but I'm not crazy. There was a Milton there, but Dylan Gabriel ends up at Oklahoma, and he's a stud. He's picking up right where they left off. Especially with the fans, the OU fans did not like him. That is a hard fact. He was not liked in Norman. They did not care for him whatsoever. Like he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And he is just not done himself any favor seemingly everywhere he's gone. He was a jerk when he was at Pinnacle, and he was a jerk at Oklahoma. And you haven't heard much from him this year with South Carolina, but he has no room to talk. He's got 2 touchdowns against 5 interceptions. He's bad. He's bad, bad, bad. The one game I'm praying for is OU versus SC in Dallas. Don't ruin that dream, ESPN. I am very intrigued by that matchup. Oklahoma versus USC. That's going to be so much fun. When is ASU going to wake up and show Ray Anderson the door? That's a great question, and I'm really glad you asked. I wish I had the answer because I am over the Ray Anderson era. He is just not good, and they need to move on from him like as fast as they can. It's it's not good. It's a very toxic situation. Oh, and when you said SC, I definitely thought you meant USC. You're talking South Carolina. My bad. Yeah, that'll also be really fun. So when is that game coming up? I'll pull up the Sooner schedule. Where are you? Oh, it is USC. When is that? I don't see it on here. Am I crazy? Probably. I don't see it on here. So they got TCU this week. Next week is the Red River rivalry. They got Kansas, Iowa State, Baylor, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. I don't see USC on here. Maybe you can get in like a bowl game. I'd be here for that. I mean, that's certainly a team that Oklahoma hates with all their guts after the way that Lincoln Riley decided to treat them and everything. So didn't he hire Bobby Hurley? Oh, Ray Anderson? Yes. And Bobby Hurley is not great. He should be on his way out sooner rather than later, but unfortunately, Arizona State loves to settle for mediocrity, and he's probably not going anywhere anytime soon. I was laughing. I can't remember who I was talking. I think I was talking to like my dad or something like that. And he brought up the fact that he had one year, it was a 2017, 2018, where we finally were competing for the bracket. And I think we got knocked out in like the first 4 or something like that. And there was a ton of conversation because North Carolina was looking for a new head coach, and they were like, we should bring in Bobby Hurley. And at the time, Arizona State fans were like, no, go away. Like, we don't want you taking away our our guy. Hindsight, we wish we did. Logan, number 200 subscriber, Forks Up. Love you, man. Thank you so much for becoming the 200 subscriber. I have been taking a look at that nonstop, and man, what a goal! Like, you guys have just, you realize the YouTube channel itself has been up for less than a year. We've probably been up 7 months, something like that. We've got 200 subscribers. That's insane to me. You guys are killing it. Are you suggesting that Bobby Hurley hire has been a success? For ASU standards, it absolutely has been. He technically has a winning record. He's 118 and 100, so he's got a 5.41 winning percentage. In the conference, he's 60 and 67, though. But there were some bad losses last year, man. That San Francisco loss was killer. So, like, he's just consistently underachieved. And again, like, that's good enough for Arizona State. He had 3 straight 20-win seasons from 2017 to the 2020 year. But, I mean, other than that, he's just not been great. Yes, in the Cotton Bowl, please. I want Skip and Shannon to talk about this for a month straight. Referring back, I assume, to the USC Oklahoma game. That would be a lot of fun. Super duper. So is Oregon good, or was Bama that good? Because I feel like no Pac-12 team should ever play an SEC team. Bama is that team, man. Bama is really, really good. If you're talking this year, though, has Alabama played Oregon, or are you thinking of the Georgia game? I don't know that Alabama has played Oregon this year, and I don't know that they will. They have not. They have not played them this year. They won't play them this year. But Oregon did play Georgia, and they got absolutely smashed. But it's a bit of both, because Georgia is that guy, pal. They are that guy. Trust me. Like, I know I am. They are a very, very good program. They look even better than they did last year. And that's mind-blowing to me, because you lost so much on your offense and defense. They had 15 guys drafted. 15 guys drafted. They look better than they did last year. I talked about him a little bit earlier. Brock Bowers is a monster at tight end. Defensively, they're insane. You got that kid on the defensive line. What the heck is his name? Oh my gosh, this is gonna kill me, because he's talked about as like a top 5 pick right now with how dominant he's been. I'm gonna find it, and as soon as I find it, I'm gonna feel stupid. The guy I'm not thinking of, though, Nolan Smith. He's also really, really, really good at football, and he's going to be a first-round pick too. Dude, what the heck is his name? If you guys know the name, then, I mean, just shout it out for sure. I'm going to have to just Georgia Bulldogs defensive lineman. He wasn't even a starter last year, and comes out and just absolutely dominates. People liked him in the process more than they liked like Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt last year. Let's see. I would like to see the defensive lineman, please. Let the do. Like I said, as soon as I see it, I'm going to feel stupid. Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is an absolute monster. But that Georgia defense is insane. Keely Ringo, has my heart. Such a great defender, and just outstanding coverage. Let's see. Curb Stomp. Interesting name. Sun Devils' future home and home games is all SEC. Mississippi State, Florida, LSU, and Texas. Yeah. ASU, made their bed with that. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully by then they will kind of have their ducks in a row and have this program on the right track, because I'm not feeling good about that. Any of those. Unfortunately, Jaden Daniels won't be at LSU at that point, which is a bummer, because I would have loved a little revenge game against him. I've been saying this: don't schedule an SEC team in SEC country. Georgia, the Superdome in New Orleans. Yeah. Here's the thing: is ASU made the same mistake a few years ago when they scheduled a game against Texas A&M, and they thought it was going to be like a neutral site, and it was at an NFL stadium. It was either in the Cowboy Stadium, or it was the, what do you call Texan Stadium. It was one of the two. And Texas A&M is not a far drive. College Station's not that far from either of those. So ASU thinking they got a neutral site, that was like an 80-20 game. Like A&M dominated that crowd. It was basically a home game for the Aggies, and they killed us. That game, I had to watch our poor left tackle, whose name is escaping me, Jameel Douglas. I had to watch Jameel Douglas get absolutely terrorized by Myles Garrett for 60 minutes, and what a mismatch. Turns out Myles Garrett's very good at football. Yeah, it just a disaster. So, all right, before I call it quits on here, I want you guys to post in the comments real quick. Give me your final score for Utah versus Arizona State. I'm still kind of working on mine. As I have been working on my notes, I currently have Utah winning 35-17, which is that 18-point win for them. I said, around 20 points would be a blowout. So 18 is like right there. I consider that a blowout. So like I said earlier, I feel like this game's either a blowout or it's going to be really, really close. It's going to be one or the other. I'm not sure where we're going to fall on that line. But my prediction right now is Utah 35, ASU 17. What do you guys think before we wrap this bad boy up and enjoy the rest of our Friday? I've been saying that. Oh, read that. Schedule those games in about as neutral as humanly possible. Vegas or SoFi. Hell in Colorado just to avoid the SEC. USC escapes Corvallis. Oregon goes down in Pullman. Utah wins. Okay. All right. Corvallis was not going to be an easy place to play, even for USC. All right. Utah 31, ASU 20, or not 20. I wish. ASU 10. Sounds about right. Utah 38, ASU 14. Can also see that. And then Chip having us a little bit closer. Utah 34, ASU 20. Utah 34, ASU 24. All right. So I hope you guys are right in the sense that we can find a way to keep it close. I definitely appreciate you guys being realists with me because we shouldn't be expecting ASU to blow out the Utes. We can manifest a win, a close win, but yeah, I don't feel good about this game. No one should feel good about this game. We just be realistic. It's not even being pessimistic. It's just realizing that Utah is just far and away a better team in more ways than one, and ASU is dealing with so much change right now with a new head coach in the middle of the season, right before conference play. This is a lot to ask out of ASU. So there's no shame in a loss here. If anything, try and get a moral victory. Like, I'm not a moral victory guy, but hopefully the players are, hopefully the coaching staff is, and hopefully the fans are. So we'll see. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and end the live stream here. Appreciate you guys sticking around because the first 30 minutes that I started at 5 did not have a freaking chat for you guys. And I didn't realize that for the longest time. And then I was struggling to figure out how to do it because I am not tech savvy. But eventually I did figure it out. So we were able to get that going for you guys. I'm manifesting a classic ASU upset at 14-10 with the defense winning it with a stop. That would be insane if it was that close of a game. And then last thing here from Black Star, Washington might be the worst possible matchup because it's after USC revenge. Yeah, Washington is very, very good this year. So that'll be interesting. Thanks for doing this. Of course, yeah, this is going to be a Friday regular thing. So I'm going to typically do this around 5 o'clock Arizona time. Moving forward every Friday, just having conversations with you guys. So we can talk ASU or we can talk college football. We can talk college basketball. We can talk pros. We can talk anything. I'm just here to hang out with you guys. So I appreciate it. So I will have one more episode dropping tomorrow morning to go over my Utah predictions, just like we normally do. So definitely make sure you check that out. That'll have my bold predictions. That'll have offense and defense to take a look at. My player I highlight, which is going to be Tavion Thomas. There, all sorts of fun stuff. Definitely check that out. Let's see how I end up doing. So until next time, guys, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.